I'm Amy Hoover. I work for Manna, and I'm the CIO. I've been with Manna for 14 years.
So you have been using Envision in Wendy's and Golden Corral. So let's talk a little bit about Wendy's. How long has Envision been inside the Wendy's?
We're at about 2.5 years now in Wendy's. This year we're completing our rollout for all of our Wendy's. We started with a small test market and then kind of just have expanded and expanded. We've seen a lot of benefit there, so we've just grown as quickly as possible there.
Great, and tell me a little bit about the benefit. What are you seeing?
We have seen a lot of kind of changes in behavior in the restaurants. Not just changes in behavior because, oh no, we have a camera watching us, but as we're seeing different patterns, we can then stop and coach people on those patterns and change the behavior as far as fraud prevention on the POS system, theft, and just as far as their day-to-day activities in the restaurants.
And do you feel like that has improved your culture overall?
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
So in what ways do you feel like the software has helped you identify and prevent those fraudulent activities in your restaurants?
Well, obviously you guys have all the reporting on voids, refunds, things like that. I mean, you can just take one day and run through a void report and see, how many different voids have been done by one individual. And then you go back and watch the video and you're like, what are they doing? Why are they voiding $700 in one shift? I actually just did that today. and then I'm like, okay, I call the manager and I'm like, is this guy new? What are we coaching him on? Why doesn't he know how to operate the POS? And then come to find out, well, he's not really new, he just came back. So then you have to understand how to coach that restaurant operator and ask, did you train him properly? How long was he in training? Did you just trust it because he came back, and go from there and try to figure out where the improvements needed.
And do you train the managers on the system as well?
Yes, we do. So general managers mostly, and our district managers, but then the restaurant managers at the store level as well have access to the system. They only have access to it in store. They can't watch it from when they're at home, things like that.
So you give restricted access through the admin.
Yes, and it's great to have the different access levels. We really like being able to monitor, president of operations sees whatever he wants at all times, down to the help desk. They can pull footage for whomever they need to pull footage for, and then the restaurant manager only sees their own restaurant.
So you also said you work with Golden Corral, and understanding you don't have it connected to a POS system right now, but with the managed video, how do you use Envision with just the managed video aspect?
For just the managed video, we still use it a lot for loss prevention, kind of just monitoring, watching things coming in and out the door. A lot of times monitoring truck deliveries, things like that, the ones that are late at night or early in the morning. It really helps to be aware of. District managers can watch out for things. We don't have someone monitoring 24/7, but just keeping an eye on things when you can't be somewhere at all times.
And do you do spot checking? Or so, for example, you said when trucks doing deliveries, do you know when the trucks are doing deliveries, and do you spot check? Tell me a little bit more about that.
General spot checking, yeah. So, if a district manager has 3 locations and they're a couple hours away from each other and they continue to have problems with deliveries, they'll spot check one and they'll maybe go to the other one to be there for the delivery and help do the inventory as it's being delivered, and watch together who on the camera while they're there.
And on an average, how much would you get into the Envision system? Is it a daily event? Do you take 5 minutes in the morning? Tell me a little bit about your process and getting into the system.
For myself, it's not as often. I'm probably only a couple times a week. When I do, unfortunately, I tend to kind of go down a rabbit hole. It's so fascinating with the POS, and because I come from a POS background and I'm in IT, I really love to watch the data align, and it looks like little magic men doing this for you. Not really, but it's really fascinating to me, and so I do tend to spend a lot of time in it when I do. So instead of multiple times, short periods of time, I spend a couple hours at a time sometimes. But the district manager level and the regional director level probably spend 30 minutes a day, maybe once or twice a day.
And do you feel like the Envision platform delivers the information that you need? Do you utilize the reports and the notifications?
We do. We utilize reports and notifications. One of the big things we love to use is the cloud archive. That was actually the huge selling point for us, is the cloud archive, because because we're such a large company, we do have a lot of lawsuits, unfortunately, and we require a 25-month archive. And the ability to have that 25-month archive just at our fingertips was huge. We used to keep DVRs and then back with the DVRs up, and not fun to have to go and try to find something from 25 months ago.
Right.
If we kept it, you know, and we've actually, lost a lot of money trying to defend those suits when we were the ones at fault, and we could have just said, okay, we watched the footage, we were at fault, let's just pay the suit. Or, opposite, and we were not at fault and we could have proved it. So, that cloud archive is just, it's wonderful.
And do you feel like at that point, Cloud Archive has saved you dollars?
Oh, lots of dollars, yes. In the process when we were reviewing the system and trying to analyze which system to go with, and if we really needed 25 months of Cloud Archive, we estimated in like 1.5 million in a 2-year period is the amount of money we would save.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty significant savings.
That was over 250 restaurants at the time.
Right. And how many restaurants do you have in total?
Right now on Envision we have right about 150, or we will have 150 by, I believe, August this year.
Great. How does the rollout go for you? Is it a smooth process?
Yeah, it's a very smooth process. So Envision will configure and ship the equipment to the restaurant or to the installer, depending on how it's being installed, and then just go out to the restaurants before they're open and do the installation of the cameras and the system. And then they actually call our help desk, because we do have a help desk, and check out with our help desk, make sure that all the cameras look good, make sure that we can see all of the angles that we need to see. We're a little demanding sometimes, so we actually have a help desk checkout list that we ask them to follow, and they do such a great job of following the checkout list, and the people on the phone do a great job helping them with, they've honed it down to like a 5-minute process when our guys that do the installs call in and have to do their process with you guys as help desk. It's so quick and seamless. It's a really, really seamless, thorough process, and that it's very, very easy.
Would you recommend Envision software to other quick service restaurant owners?
I definitely would. I mean, obviously, you have to evaluate what's right for your restaurants, and if you can afford the investment, it will come back to you in returns, for sure. I think just the level of POS detail you get, especially if you're a franchisee, you don't see that level of POS detail anywhere else. And so you're actually having your hands-on, your detail of your POS system, and actively what's going on in your restaurant in a way that no one else does, in a way that you have never had before either. And that's a huge thing. That's a huge benefit to a franchisee and to independent restaurants and non-franchisees as well. But as a franchisee, it sometimes can be very frustrating when you can't see your own data, you can't necessarily see what's going on in real time at your restaurant. With Envision, you can. You may not be seeing into the Aloha system. You're seeing it pop out in the camera system. You're seeing the exact check, and you're seeing your people working that check. So it's really cool, and it's worth it. It really is.
And do you utilize our reports within
Yes.
Envision reports?
We haven't gotten to the drive-through reports yet. And that's just because when we did our installs, we hadn't prepared properly for the camera angles. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to go back and put in some new cameras to do that, but we are excited about it. But we utilize mostly just the transactional reports, the refund reports, the void reports. Those just give us a lot of insight into what's going on with the restaurant level employees. We found some managers are giving their numbers out to people, and there's a lot of refunds on so-and-so's number. They don't work every single day. Things like that we really have cut a lot of that fraud that's going on. And unfortunately, we've had to lose some people over it. But again, we've also done a lot of that integrity coaching. Mm-hmm. And it really is that, if you're a restaurant manager and you're 20 years old, and it's mandated that you keep the restaurant open. You keep the dining room open until 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, but all your buddies are tired and you only have 4 people and you're slammed. You want to close the dining room so you can just do drive-through.
Right.
You can't do that, And, we get a call and customer complaint that they came in for, they placed their order to go and they wanted to pick it up inside and they couldn't. the next thing you know, all we have to do is log into the system. We can see, like, was that check for a drive-through, or did they actually order it mobile to go, or did they order it drive-through mobile? And you can go from there, and then you can look and see what was going on in the dining room. You see who was in the kitchen. Were they that busy? Was there actually a reason to close the dining room? Or, could they have served the dining room? And it kind of helps you to go back and say, okay, I know you were trying to do right by your people, but we're supposed to stay open. It's mandated. You have to stay open unless you're calling your district manager and giving them a valid reason. So it's kind of the back and forth of people a lot of times think they're doing the right thing when they're not. So you have to coach them on what that is. It's not that we want to say, I gotcha.
Right.
We don't want to have to fire people. We want to coach them to do the right thing.
Yeah, and that's a good way to approach it. And it also probably helps with just brand integrity.
Yes, absolutely.
And customer, happiness as
yes,
well.
And especially on the Wendy's side, we really want to represent the Wendy's brand in a positive way. And, it is Wendy's brand out there, and it's Manna brand out there. And we want to make sure that our restaurants are up to par, but not even just up to par, but better and stellar. And one of the ways we can do that is by monitoring what's going on there at all times.
Well, I appreciate your time. And
Thank you. Thanks for having me.